Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about the 5 steps to manifest absolutely anything. Let's get into it. So step number 1 is to choose what you want. So many of us are trying to manifest things and we think we want something and we think we want this thing and we put this vibe out, but really we haven't taken time to get clear on what it is that we actually want and why we want it. And the more in depth you can get into the why you want something, the faster you can manifest it, because manifesting really does come down to the energy and the feelings behind what it is you're manifesting and not necessarily the thing itself. Do you know what I mean? So, for example, a lot of people think they want more money, but what they actually want is a life of freedom, of not having to worry about when their bills are due, of not having to look at their bank account before they buy something, of not having to move money around in their accounts as they make a purchase. Okay. So, it's not really the money in the account that you want, it's the freedom that the money gets you. So, you want to focus on the freedom feelings instead of the actual money, because the money in this scenario, at least, is actually the how, and it's not the actual thing that we're trying to manifest. So getting really, really clear on what you want is very, very important. Number 2 is to get rid of things, that are in your way. Okay. So the things that are in your way could be just limiting beliefs and programming from the way we were raised. Back to the money example, a lot of us were raised to believe that money is hard to earn. People who are rich are greedy. You have to work a lot of hours to be able to make a lot of money. One belief that I had when I was a kid growing up, and one that I have actively worked through as an adult since I became aware of this manifesting process, is that my parents had a lot of friends that were lawyers. They work in insurance. They had a lot of friends that were lawyers. And the lawyers had beautiful houses with big pools and all this nice stuff, but they were also constantly working. And I thought to myself, well, why do I want to have a job that makes a lot of money if I don't have the time to enjoy what I've created, right? So I don't want to make a lot of money is the belief that I have put into my mind, right? So I've worked through that. But the other things that might be holding you back could be people around you, right? Not everybody is going to be as open-minded as you are. And trust me, I know that a lot of the things that I say about manifesting in the law of attraction and calling in this and changing your perspective, that sounds really fucking crazy, right? Like I get it, I know. So not everybody is going to be on board with what you're doing. So sometimes you are going to have to pick and choose who you have conversations with about what. And sometimes we have to remove people altogether who are toxic. As you go on this law of attraction, manifesting, discovering yourself, embodying the ideal version of yourself journey that it ultimately is, you will find that some people in your life currently, or people from your past, or people you are yet to meet, are quite toxic to your energy, and they're just draining, right? You don't want to spend time with them. They don't have the same outlook you do. Maybe they're more negative than you are. Maybe they're constantly putting down your ideas. You say you want to call something in or manifest something, and they just poo-poo all over it. Like, you don't need people like that in your life. The only people you want in your life are the people who are going to be fully supportive of you, and whether they believe in manifesting or not, they want you to be happy and they're supportive of whatever you do. Okay, as long as you're taking care of yourself. So removing things that are in your way is going to be very, very vital for you in this process. So the third step is to visualize what you want. And again, visualizing really comes down more to how it feels than what it looks like. But when you are visualizing, you want to get as deep into it as you can. So if you're manifesting a new car, for example, you're not just manifesting, or you're not just, you're going to picture this car. You're going to imagine yourself driving the car. Like, one of my favorite things to do, and one of the things that I remember very, very, very distinctly from when the first summer I had my car, I got my license late. I was in a pretty bad car accident. I was not the driver, but on my way to prom, I was in a really bad car accident that kind of traumatized me. So I was not open to learning how to drive. Anyway, so several years later, fast forward, I got sick of taking public transit, and I ended up manifesting buying my first car and taking myself for driving lessons and the whole thing. But anyway, when you are visualizing driving this car that you want to manifest, think about how you feel when you've driven a past car. Okay, so like I was about to say, one of my favorite memories is driving downtown Vancouver in my new car. My sunroof is open, my windows are down, the music is way too loud, the sun is shining in. It was so warm and beautiful, and it just makes me feel so good. I was like just high on life that day, and it was incredible. So I take myself back there, and now that I'm manifesting a new car, because I just want a second vehicle, because why not? I take myself back there and I visualize myself listening to music. So while I'm listening to something that I know I will listen to in my new car, I imagine myself, I visualize myself driving in this vehicle, driving downtown Vancouver, or driving in my town, or driving, to visit my parents or something on a Saturday afternoon. And I visualize myself not only watching myself in the car, but you want to actually put yourself in the driver's seat, like figuratively and literally, right? You want to put yourself in the driver's seat, and you're going to watch your hand on the steering wheel, and you're going to watch the traffic go by, and you're going to listen to the music as you're driving the car. And you want to get as many senses as possible involved in the process, so that when you're visualizing and imagining it going forward, it's easier and easier for you to draw on that feeling. And eventually, I'll talk about anchoring in another video, but eventually you can anchor a song that you'd be listening to in your car as your manifestation anchor. So every time you listen to that song, immediately you're right there driving the car in the sun with the music too loud and the windows down, and it's amazing. So the more you can do that, the faster you can manifest what you're looking for, right? So visualization is absolutely key. And then number 4 is to take action. You have to take action. If you want to manifest a new car, sitting around thinking about the new car is not going to be enough, right? This is actually one of the things that I am less favorable about when it comes to The Secret, the documentary. At least the book is a little bit better, but the documentary itself really leaves out the action piece. It really just makes it sound like you can sit around and think about what you want and it'll just fall into your lap, but that's not how it works. You do have to take some form of action. And because all manifestations come through somebody else, right? You're going to buy the car from somebody else. You're going to be paid by somebody else. You are going to buy a house from somebody else, or somebody is going to build this house or whatever, right? Everything comes through somebody. Somebody's going to hand you money for something. You're going to hand somebody money for something. There's always another person involved, right? And another side topic, all manifestations have to be for the highest and best of all involved, which we will talk about in another episode. But we have to be taking action. We have to be taking inspired action. So one of the things that you want to do when you are manifesting is to tune into the feminine flow, because all of us have a masculine and a feminine energy that need to be in balance to manifest effortlessly, which we'll talk about in another episode. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but when we are in that feminine flow, we are waiting for divine guidance and inspiration to lead us to what we need to do next to manifest the thing that we want, because we've already said what we want. And as soon as you ask, it is given. All you have to do is then align yourself with not only the vibration of the version of you who has that thing, but align with the connection with the universe, so that you can be guided to how you're going to make that happen. Now, it might not make sense. The action step might not make sense. It might be the next thing you get is this nudge to go buy milk, like right this second. But then who knows, at the store, you end up meeting somebody in line who owns a car dealership, or maybe you run into an old friend who's selling their exact vehicle that you were looking for, or they had previously owned one of the versions of the car that you want, and they're giving you some tips and tricks on where to get it or where to get it serviced or whatever. The focusing on what to do next is not really your part in all of this, though. You need to just turn it over to the universe and take that action and inspired guidance. So again, you need to take action, though. You cannot just sit around and expect this thing to come to you. You are going to have to get up and do something, create something, go somewhere. You're at least going to have to go to the dealership and pick one out, right? That might be the action, is just to go to the dealership and buy the car. But that in itself is a level of action. Okay. And then the last thing is to recognize and appreciate when these things are getting closer to you and when they arrive. All too often, we're firing off rockets of desire, as Abraham Hicks calls it, all the time. Anytime you express any kind of interest or favorability over anything, you are adding that thing to your vortex, which again, Abraham Hicks talks about, which is basically a compilation of all the things that you've ever shown desire for, asked for, shown preference for. Okay. So we are all manifesting all the time. And sometimes a lot of the time, it's so easy for us to forget what we've asked for. So by the time it gets here, we forget to say thank you, because we're on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And we forget what we've already asked for. So one of the steps is really, really important, is to appreciate and recognize where you are and what has already manifested. So for example, in a previous video, I talked about how you know when a manifestation is close, which you can go check out. But in this case, when you notice that the manifestation is close, that is cause to celebrate and appreciate and say thank you already in reverent gratitude. Reverent gratitude is thanking before the thing comes. Okay, thanking before the evidence is evident. So you want to be saying thank you. When you would start to notice that things are shifting in your favor, when you start to notice the manifestation is getting close, you show appreciation and recognition, and you say, universe, thank you so much for helping me get this much closer to my manifestation. I know that by seeing 3 of these, I don't know, white Audi Q5s today, I know that mine is that much closer. I know that that means that I'm in alignment and I'm getting closer, and I appreciate you helping me. Or for example, if you're manifesting more money and then all of a sudden you have a bunch of calls come in for potential clients, they want to know how to work with you or what the packages cost or whatever. Even if none of those first few calls that come in end up going anywhere, you're still better off than you were before. Because let's say you've had weeks to months of no calls, no real business increases at all, and then all of a sudden you get inquiries. That is a step in the right direction. And just because that client's not a right fit doesn't mean that your manifestation is not coming. Right? So it's taking the time to really slow down and be mindful of what's going right in your life and saying thank you and understanding that that really is a sign that your manifestation is coming. And the more you can do that, the more you can recognize and appreciate, even before the manifestation is fully in physical form, the faster it will come. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. I hope that you can see where maybe in a past manifestation you may have fallen off the wagon and not followed all 5 steps all the way through. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know. You can comment below. I would also love it if you would share your thoughts and ideas in my private Facebook group called Mindset to Manifest, which I will leave the link below in the description. And I would also love it if you would like and subscribe not only this channel, because it helps me get my message out further and it will help you be notified when I have a new video up. I would also love it if you would like and subscribe to my podcast. The You Can Manifest podcast is available on any of the streaming platforms, and I hope that you love it. Thank you so much for watching and have a fantastic day.